Okay, let's talk about something that's, well, it's really tough. It's a topic that keeps a lot of parents up at night. How do you protect your gifted child from being bullied by their peers? Today, we're going to break down a real, actionable plan, drawing on the fantastic work of Gifted Children South Africa.
Yeah, this one hits hard, doesn't it? Maybe you've seen it. That spark they used to have is a little dimmer. The excitement about going to school in the morning? It's just gone. If this sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. These are the quiet little flags that tell us something's not right.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get into why gifted kids can become targets. Then, we'll build your core action plan for any situation. After that, we dive into the specifics, verbal, physical, and cyberbullying. And we'll wrap it all up by talking about the importance of community. Let's get right into it. So, first things first, before we can jump into the what to do, we've really got to understand the why. And let me be super clear here. This is not about blaming your child, not for a second. This is all about getting a handle on the social dynamics so you can become their absolute best advocate. Take a look at these traits. Things like an advanced vocabulary, an intense sense of what's right and wrong. These are superpowers, right? But here's the tricky part. On the playground, those same superpowers can make them stick out. And then there's this idea of asynchronous development. It's a big one. It basically means their brain might be working at a 12-year-old level, but emotionally they're still an 8-year-old. That mismatch, it can be really confusing for other kids, and sadly, it can make them a target.
Okay, so we've got the why. Now let's get into the how. We're going to build your core action plan. These next 4 steps are your foundation, your go-to moves, no matter what kind of bullying you're dealing with. Think of it as your emotional first aid kit. So here they are. Your 4 foundational steps. Step 1, believe and validate. Step 2, document everything. 3, prioritize emotional safety. And 4, build resilience. We're going to walk through each one because honestly, getting these right from the very beginning changes the entire game.
Okay, this is probably the most important thing you will ever do. Before you make a phone call, before you write an email, you need to look your child in the eye and say these exact words. I believe you. This is not your fault, and we will handle it together. It is the antidote to all that terrible advice like, just ignore them. Those things just make a kid feel completely alone. Your first words to them set the stage for everything that comes next. All right, step 2. And listen, this one is absolutely non-negotiable, especially if you're navigating the South African school system. Documentation is your superpower. It transforms your argument from, my kid feels, to, here are the facts. You need a log. A notebook, a file on your computer, whatever works. Log everything. Dates, times, what was said, who was there. Screenshots are your best friend. Even jot down how your child was feeling afterwards. Because when you walk into that meeting with the school, this logbook, that's your leverage. That's what gets things done.
And that brings us to step 3, their emotional safety. Bullying takes a massive toll. It can lead to real anxiety, depression. It could just suck the joy out of life. You have to be a detective for their mental health. If you notice they're really struggling, or if they say something that makes your stomach drop, you have to act right away. That number on your screen, Childline South Africa, put it in your phone right now. It is a critical lifeline. Your child's well-being is the #1 priority, always.
Okay, we've got our foundation set. Now, let's get tactical. We're diving into the specifics, starting with the one you're most likely to encounter, verbal bullying.
Yeah, just listen to that. Nerd, freak, teacher's pet. They're not just random insults, are they? They're laser-focused on the very things that make your child special. The goal is to make them feel ashamed of being smart, of being curious. It's designed to make them shrink. And that's exactly why we can't just let it slide.
So you've got to fight this on 2 fronts. At home, you're the coach. You listen, you validate, and then you practice. Seriously, role-playing a simple, strong response like, stop talking to me like that, can be a total game changer for their confidence. Then, at school, you switch hats. You become the advocate. You take your documented proof to the teacher. You ask for concrete things like more supervision in certain areas. And if that doesn't work, you go up the ladder to the principal, to the school governing body, with that logbook in your hand.
All right, let's shift gears. We need to talk about physical bullying. Now, this might be less common, but when it happens, the stakes are way, way higher. And your response has to be immediate and serious.
So, we all know what this looks like. Pushing, tripping, breaking their stuff. And why does it happen? Honestly, a lot of the time, it just boils down to jealousy. Maybe your kid is excelling at something, and another kid just can't handle it.
Okay, your playbook here is different. It's faster. At home, your one and only job is to make sure they're safe. Period. Tell them your safety is my #1 priority. And you document everything, including photos of any injuries. At school, you skip the teacher. You go straight to the principal's office. This isn't a classroom issue, it's a safety issue. You demand a formal safety plan. And look, if the school drags its feet, you escalate to the DBE, and if you have to the South African Police Service. Let's be blunt, assault is a crime, not just kids being kids.
And now we come to the battleground of our times, cyberbullying. What makes this so awful is that the school bell doesn't save them. The bullying follows them home. It's on their phone, in their room, all night long. There is literally no escape.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? That feeling of it being 24/7, it's brutal. And don't ever underestimate how much being left out of a WhatsApp group can hurt. To a kid, that can feel just as bad as being pushed in the hall. It's that relentless, never-ending nature of it that's so damaging.
So what do? Okay, at home, rule #1, and this is a big one. Do not just take away their device. I know it's tempting, but all that does is punish your kid and teaches them never to tell you anything again. Instead, you're their partner. You reassure them. Then you become an evidence collector. Screenshot everything, every message, every post. Help them block and report the person on the app. If it's connected to school, you take that evidence straight to the principal. And if there are serious threats, this is a job for the SAPS Cybercrimes Unit.
Whew, okay, we have covered a lot. We've talked about the why, we've built your core action plan, and we've gone through the tactics. Now, let's talk about the last piece of the puzzle, and it's a huge one. It's about not having to do this all by yourself.
I really want this to sink in for a minute. You are your child's most powerful, most important advocate. All this stuff we talked about, the logbook, the calm but firm conversations, that's how you channel all that worry and frustration into effective action. It's your greatest tool. You've got this.
But, and this is key, you don't have to do it alone. Finding your tribe is probably the best next step you can take. So here's your action item. Gifted Children South Africa has a parent community on Discord. To join, just go to their website. That's giftedchildrensouthafrica.org. You'll find the link there. Once you're in, you can grab an amazing bullying prevention cheat sheet, but more importantly, you can connect with other parents who just get it. They know exactly what you're dealing with.
And let's end on this thought, because really this is what it's all about, isn't it? Every time you stand up for your child, every time you have one of these hard conversations, you're doing more than just protecting them. You're pushing for a world where being different, being smart, being sensitive, where those are seen as strengths. You're helping build better, kinder schools for every kid. And that's something truly powerful. Thanks so much for being
Crime, not...
Don't forget to like and subscribe.